Hello everyone and welcome back to another Minecraft tutorial. In this video we are going to be going over the structure blocks that were added in Minecraft 1.10's first snapshot, which is 16W20A, and that's the version of Minecraft we are in right now. These things may be subject to minor changes, so keep that in mind when watching this tutorial in the future, of course. But anyway, let's jump right into it. I want to start off by saying these structure blocks are going to be much easier to use if you're in the positive part of your world. So if I press F3, you will see that here is 0, 0 in terms of X, Y, Z. And these directions, the numbers go upwards positively, and that's always just going to be a little bit easier to deal with. If you are in these parts of the quadrants, you may be looking this way, yet you've got to deal with negative numbers. So just keep that in mind if you're on a test world and you can build in the positive region. Now, the first thing that you're going to need to do is give yourself a structure block. You can't find it in the creative menu. This is the command that you will need. You can copy that into your chat. You can find it in the description box down below. And in order to use this, you may need to be OP. If you're in a single player world, you can go to open to LAN, allow cheats, start a LAN world, and then you'll be able to use that command in chat. So then it's going to give you one of these structure blocks. So let's place it down. And this one is called data. We'll come back to that later on. The first one that we're going to have a look at is save. So we want to change it to save down here by clicking on this button. And we're going to make our first structure. This structure is going to be the tree over here. It's a little bit of a strange tree, I know, but I like it, and we're going to call it tree. Now, what we want to do first of all is define the structure size. So this thing is 3 blocks across in both directions and 4 blocks tall, which means we're going to type that in right here. So 3, 4 and 3, and then we're going to click done, and now you'll see that a bounding box has appeared to show us where we're looking at right now, and what we need to do is change where it's looking at. So if we change this 1 to a 0, you'll see that it goes down by a block. That's because that is the y-axis, and now what we want to do is move it over by 2 blocks in each direction, and you can see it goes over there to where the tree is. Over here we have invisible blocks, and if we turn this to on, then we'll actually be able to see the air blocks in our structure highlighted by these little markers. But let's go back and turn that off. We've also got detect down here. We'll come back to that later, as well as include entities. For now, what we're going to do is click save, and we've saved this structure as tree. So now what we want to do is load the structure back up. We're going to put down another structure block over here. We're going to change this all the way to load mode, and we're going to type in the name of our structure. Now, you're not going to be able to see anything straight away. What you want to do is click on load just the once, and now it will show you the bounding box. And once again, we want to just put this down by a singular block, and then we want to move it over by 2 into the correct position on each of these axes. And then if we really want to, we can also turn the bounding box off, but for now we're going to keep that on, and the next thing we want to do is simply click on load to load the bounding box, and there you go, we have cloned the structure over here and pasted it over there. Now what I'm going to do is place down another block right here. We're going to come back over to this one. In fact, let's just remove a few blocks to show you how it works. We're going to click load again, and it's replaced this, but it hasn't included this block over here, and that's because if we want to update the structure tree, we need to click save again. So we do that, then we go over here, we click load, and you can see it's put that extra block in at the bottom. The next thing we're going to look at is saving entities in a structure. What we want to do is go into the Save GUI, and we want to include entities down here, and then we're going to click done. Now, we can put some item frames on our little tree over here, and I do want to point out that item frames are in fact entities, and now we can save this structure with the entities included. But what we're going to do is change the name of this to tree-e, E for entity, and then we click on save. Now, this next tip is one you are going to use a lot when you're working with structure blocks, so pay attention. What you want to do is control middle click on this one right here, and then we pick it up with additional MBT data. That's going to save all of the information about this block. So now we're going to come down here, we're going to place it down, open it up, and we're going to change it to load mode, and you can see that it has preserved some of the information like the structure name and the relative position of it. So now when we click on load, we are going to load that tree in, and that saves you a lot of time retyping in information about the structures. Now, another thing I want to mention is that this block over here has changed. We have now saving this as tree-e, and tree is still saved in memory, so we can actually remove a few blocks from this over here and we can load it back up again. Now we are going to learn how to rotate our structures, and I've modified the original one so that we can see the rotations happen by adding in some colourful blocks down here at the bottom. So I've changed the name of this one as well. We want to save that. Then we're going to middle click this thing again while pressing Control to bring it up to the top here, and we're going to open this and change its mode to load, and then we're going to click load to just paste in the original structure. Okay, now what we want to do is rotate this. We're going to click on 90 to rotate it 90 degrees, and then we're going to click on done so you can see where the bounding box will be. Now this rotates them relative to this, so it means that we need to nudge the coordinates each time, and because we are in the positive directions, it makes it nice and easy. We've got to nudge it by 2 blocks in that direction, which is this one right here. So if we put that to 4, the bounding box goes to the correct position. Then we can click on load and pay attention to the colors. They've changed rotation. So let's do this again. Let's go to 180 and we will see that our bounding box is in the wrong position. We need to nudge this one up by 2. It's in the correct position. Again, pay attention to the colors. They have been successfully rotated. And last of all, we've got 270. Now this one, the bounding box has gone too far in that direction, so we need to bring this back by 2, and then we're going to pay attention to the colors again, click load, and you can see we've successfully rotated it again. As well as rotating structures, we can also mirror them, and this is quite simple. It may seem a little bit confusing, but follow me and it won't be. So anyway, let's click on this one over here, because there are 2 axes in which we can mirror it. There is this axis right here along this way, and the other axis is this one over here. Okay, so let's go to the first one. You can see the bounding box is out by 2 blocks, so what we need to do is nudge it along by 2, and now it's in the same position as this one. Now because we're mirroring it, what's going to happen is the yellow and the blue are going to swap sides. So I click on load, now yellow is on this side and blue is on that side over there. So what I now want to do to show you the other axis is just set this back to normal. So we're going to go to this one over here. You can see that this is off by 2 blocks, so we need to nudge this one up by 2. The bounding box is now in the correct place, and we need to pay attention to the green and pink wall. So when we mirror it this time, those 2 are going to swap, and there you go, pink is on the other side. So now we will learn how to use the corner blocks, and these ones are going to be extremely convenient, especially if using all of those numbers is a little bit confusing to you. So we're going to place one down over here, and we're going to change it to corner mode. Then we're going to place another one up here and change that one to corner mode. And then what we'll do is place one down, put it in save mode, and then we're going to click detect over on the side here, and you will see that a bounding box appears, and that's because we've used the corner blocks. Now when you're placing these down, you've got to think that there is an invisible square between the 2 of them, and it's the furthest point to the next corner block that it's going to start from, right? So right over here to right up there. And it has successfully now detected that the information is here, and it means that we can, put something inside of here and then use it. Alright, that is perfect for what I want to demonstrate to you next, which is another structure block called the structure void. First of all, we want to take this and paste it down over here though. So we're going to put it down, go into load mode, going to click on load, and we've replaced that structure where the glass was. Now let's say that you wanted to keep some of that glass. Well, this is where the structure void comes in very handy. So I've given myself one with this command block. Here is the command. You can find that in the description box as well if you need it. And what we're going to do is place the structure void inside of this structure, and you can see here that it has like a little hitbox, but you can't actually see anything. So if we place that right there and go into this and then change it to show invisible blocks, you'll see that these ones are now highlighted by a red block. Anyway, what we want to do is turn that off and then save our structure with the structure void included. Okay, so now when we load this structure, the structure void is going to preserve the block that is already there. So let's click on load, and you can see where our structure voids are in this structure, the glass has remained over here. Another 2 features of structure blocks: first of all, they interact with redstone, and second of all, you can save and load other structure blocks with the structure block you're using. Now these things can be powered by redstone, they can't be pushed by pistons, and they don't give out a signal for a comparator. And what I've done is I've hooked these 2 up to a clock, and we're going to have a little mirror set up right here. So I'm going to build a basic clock like this. You can see the blocks get mirrored onto the other side. and then what we're going to do is use a structure block as well. So our clock is running. We're now going to put a structure block on this side over here. It is going to be saved and then loaded on the other side, and where they've both been powered by redstone, they have then gone and created this little structure over to the side here, and this other one that I've got is simply going to remove that structure. So they interact with redstone and they can have other structure blocks inside of their structures. If you are also wondering how big of a size structure you could actually make, the biggest size is 32 by 32. And how did I figure this out? Well, just type in a bigger number in these places and it will change it back. As you can see, 32 is the maximum. And one last very important thing to mention is that these structures will get saved to file. Now, as it stands in the snapshot 16W20A, they are not actually saving to the correct location, which I'm going to put on your screen. However, in a future snapshot, I imagine that will be fixed. The important thing to know, though, is that if you save a structure by clicking this button right here, it will save it to file. If you do it via redstone like this, then it's going to save it to memory. So that's an important thing to remember. And there was one other structure block that I didn't cover, that was the data one, this one right here. As of this snapshot, this doesn't actually do anything at the moment, so maybe this is something I'll cover in a separate tutorial in the future. And that is it from me, this Minecraft tutorial. If you have enjoyed the video and found it useful, please do leave a like, and of course feel free to share it with anyone you know is going to be interested in these structure blocks. They are very powerful, very user friendly once you know what you're doing, and I think a great addition to this game. But anyway, that is it from me, this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.